the $1 Million Mortgage Experience podcast. All right, welcome to today's episode. I'm here with Preston Caffrey. He's the president of Ocean Equity Solutions, a mortgage broker in San Diego, as well as the co-founder of We Drink Tequila. Welcome to the show, Bed.
Thanks for having me.
Stoked, man. Well, we've been wanting to do this for a while because
Way too long.
Because we started a tequila business together, and also you were, I think, our number one broker for a while, and you've been busy doing some other stuff.
Yeah, lots of stuff. I mean, We Drink Tequila, obviously, is so much fun. We still doing loans, which is great, and then working with my wife on We Drink Bubbles as much as I can help. So
nice. And
then obviously still raising our last kid.
It goes fast, right?
Goes fast,
man. And your oldest daughter, Kennedy, she's off at college.
Yep,
enjoying that. She gonna follow in your footsteps and be in the mortgage business? No,
I don't know. No, I think if anything, she'll be in the bubbles business. But in all reality, she's gonna be something like a journalist or a book editor, or
so smart.
Knows? Yeah, she's way smarter than me. That's for sure.
And I'm sure
mom's genes.
I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, you have kids, maybe you want them in the business, maybe not. I mean, it's good. It's been great for us, right?
It's been great. I mean, honestly, since you got me into this business 20 plus years ago, it's provided for our family. It's been incredible. I've made so many amazing relationships, and I think that's kind of why I've always stayed in this, is always because of the people. Money helps, but I mean, it's always just been that I enjoy what I do because I'm helping people, but at the same time, it's not as fun as tequila.
It is rewarding. I mean, seeing people thrive. Like, I think you told me a story one time about someone really close to you that was able to pay off their mortgage.
Yeah.
And with a special product that you gave them, and, it just changed their whole life, changed their future, changed our future. Tell us how you got in the mortgage business. I know the story, but I'd love for our, and I'll add in a couple little.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let you start with the tie salesman. You can go ahead and lead with that.
So we're in San Diego, and Preston is a tie salesman, and I don't see many people wearing ties in San Diego. I mean, maybe downtown here and there, like the lawyers and stuff, but these weren't like lawyer ties. These were like funky, cool ties, right? Like more hipster ties and stuff. And I remember looking at you and going, dude, and you were doing a good job. I think you were in all these different really great, like Nordstrom, Fifth Saks, or
I worked for the tie business, Mulberry. Yeah,
and I was like, you were selling ties. I mean, you were getting them some sold.
Yeah,
and I'm like, if you could sell ties in San Diego, you have to be in the mortgage business, because you could sell ice to Eskimos.
Anything.
You could sell anything.
Yeah.
So then, like, you were probably like, what is this mortgage business? So,
yeah, to be honest, I'd never heard that word before in my life. It sounds crazy.
You couldn't even spell mortgage, probably.
No. I mean, especially when I saw it, I was like, that's how it's spelled. It was crazy because, obviously we'd worked together a couple years prior, and then running into each other, and I had just proposed to my wife, to Shiloh at the time, and you were like, what are you going to do with your life?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to be an elementary school teacher. And you asked what my salary was, and I had just gotten a job offer for $24,000 a year.
And I think I would just made that in a week or something.
Just killed me. And you were like, dude, if you come work for me, you'll make that in your first month. I think that's what you said. And I was like, what? And the best thing you said to me, which I think really swayed my decision, was you were like, you can always go back to being a school teacher, right? Yeah. And I was like, it's true. I got nothing to lose. And, and at the same time you were like, and let's record a record together. So it was great. Great sales. Great sales. I
was pressuring you. I'm like, okay, we'll make your record and we'll get you to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
You could say no to that.
Who would say no? And I mean, with being your protege, kind of through that whole stuff. I mean, that's how I basically just watched what you did, copied it, and the results were great. Dude, I don't know why more people don't. Client? Keith Sexton. Yeah. Yeah, it was in a stack of just turn downs or whatever. I don't know what it was.
I'm like, call these guys. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was a great, he was a great client forever. And so it became a close friend. I mean, I think that's the beauty of a lot of this, is you get to know people's intimate financial situation.
True.
And through that, you get to know them because you're not just saying, here's a rate, let me fix your mortgage or whatever, but you're like, why are we refinancing? What's the story? What's going on in your life? So you get to know them really well. And I think through that and maybe meeting for a couple beers and stuff like that, you become close. I mean, I would say more than 90% of my clients are friends.
Especially when you're doing loans that aren't just cookie cutter,
Totally. Yeah.
Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac stuff. Like if you're doing stuff that's a little out of the box, that's special, that's making someone, accomplishing their dreams, whether it's getting them cash out to start a business or whatever, they're stoked and they're like, I need to know this guy.
And I mean, think about it. If someone has been banking with Bank of America for 20 years, and then they go in to refinance their home and they're like, you don't qualify. Like I've been with you for 20 years. What? I don't get it.
I don't understand. Yeah.
So then when I'm able to do their loan, no problem, they're like, oh, I'm never going back.
You should have started the Bank of Preston. Then you could have had their deposits too. Oh, if that could only be real. But talk about so you've had some amazing success in the mortgage business. When I say that, I don't know anyone personally that's closed as many loans in 1 month as you have. I've been in the business longer than you, and whatever, own a like a FundLoans, but I've never had a month where it was like personally and without a processor, which is mind blowing to me. But what do you attribute to your success? And tell us how many loans was that big month?
Yeah, so it was 67. And it was a culmination of so many things. I mean, COVID had hit, and then, I just assumed that the world had ended. And so I was just hanging out at the home, drinking champagne and tequila. And then all of a sudden, they were like, hey,
cheers, the world ended.
They were like, rates are like 2%. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And so I reached out to every single client I had, every single one, personally, not like a blast email or anything. I called them all, every single one. Hey, this is your rate. This is what it is right now. This is how much you'll save, and it won't cost you anything.
Yep.
So, I mean, everyone obviously said yes to that.
Sure.
And so it went from, I was like lounging around playing video games with my son and just enjoying life to working probably 18 hours a day. But It was worth it. I mean, It was crazy. And you know me and how I am even with We Drink Tequila stuff. Like I am obsessive compulsive and I want control over everything. Mm-hmm. And I think that was how I was able to do it, by processing my own loans. I created a system and I just stuck with it. But it's not the most healthy thing to do.
I'd rather pour acid in my eye than process 67 loans.
It was a lot.
Dude, that I can imagine. But you knew that you were going to get paid, and it was like a sure way to get paid. But I think those 67 clients probably are good for now, for the rest of their life.
For the rest of their life, yeah.
Which took a good chunk of your, not portfolio, but your client base, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sort of took it off the market.
I'd say of the, I can guess a couple hundred that I closed that year, maybe a fifth of them have reached out for equity lines or stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then maybe even like a 20th of them have said like, hey, we're moving or we want to refi or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the good news is all those people are the happiest, and because they will never, ever refinance again. But obviously it's less
they might business. Turn it into a rental and then go buy another house or buy rentals or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's free money. I mean, the 2% rate was just literally they're paying you to.
Crazy. Yeah.
Like the inflation.
I got my brother a 1.99 30-year fixed.
That's insane.
It's just.
That was just free money.
Think about it. Who's lending money at that?
Is your brother just like forever stoked?
Oh, he's so happy.
He like just sends you thank you cards every year.
He will never pay that loan off or sell his home.
That is so cheap, man. So you say you're obsessive compulsive a little bit, but like what do you think was the main thing that helped you with your mortgage business? Like was it just that you cared a lot, more detail? Like what was some of the things that you can attribute to your success?
Yeah, I mean, besides literally being on my knees praying that I didn't die with that limited amount of sleep. Honestly, I think it was just the team that I had around me. I mean, team as in like my wife, my kids, even having you in my life and people who were there to support me during that time. Cause it was like, it wasn't like I locked myself into a dungeon and didn't do anything. But when I would go out or go hang out, have dinner at your guys' house or whatever, it was like massive decompressing time.
I don't think I saw you that month.
No, not a lot. I think we hung out twice. We drank tequila together twice.
Right.
But that was the kind of stuff that I needed to stay sane, because other than that, it was just robotic, closing loans. And I think I had it. So I had a system that had broke down every single day. I needed to reach out to every single client I was working with in one way, shape, or form. I wanted to make sure there was tons of touch points. Yeah. And I was doing a lot of those loans with UWM, who had just updated their internal system that made things a lot easier. And so I was closing a lot of those loans in 12 to 14 days. So it was like I wasn't just grinding for 30 days with the same person over and over again.
Right.
So I think that efficiency model made it really nice. Now, I mean, the beauty is so many mortgage companies, even you guys, have everything online.
Better
so
portals,
it's all the portals and stuff. Yeah. So I think that was the beauty of it. But yeah, it was a crazy month.
So not necessarily that month, but what about other months and just in your overall career? What would you say was a big, success point? Like, I know you're big at giving gifts, like, obviously not like things that are, non-compliant, but like the relationships you've built, stuff like that. Like
got to throw that in
case some compliance people are listening.
No. I mean, whenever a loan closes, I always, send a thank you to every client. Thanks for your business. And so I think that
even like a personalized, right? Like,
has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, just like that marketing thing that I'd done years ago, everything that I do, I always want it to be intentional. Otherwise I just don't do it.
Yep.
It's like posting something on Instagram. Like, I don't do it often because if I'm going to say something, I want it to be
impactful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, but talk about how important it is to be personal in this business. A lot of people have turned it, especially with technology, this business has turned totally like very non-touchy, just very, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think that's where the whole world is going. And it's a total shame.
Yeah.
In the end, we're going to look back and wish that we didn't include AI in everything we do, wish that we didn't have a processor and a processor's processor and all these people doing all this stuff for us.
Yeah.
Because we're essentially eliminating the need for ourselves in this business.
We're totally making ourselves weak.
Yeah.
Like, I saw this thing, I think it was on TikTok, but it was an advertisement. So if you're sending someone a text message, you can just touch this AI button and it will rewrite your text message and make it more beautiful and more poetic. And, you're saying like, hey, would you like to go to lunch today? I'd be like, hey, I was thinking about you. It totally changes it and rewrites it. And I'm just thinking like, that's just going to make everyone so weak. Like, in person, you're not going to be able to communicate.
Well, because they won't even need to think to say something.
Right. Like, for instance, if someone texts you and then it pops up the responses that you should give, so you don't even have to really think about a response. You can just pick one. It's like multiple choice.
Yeah.
This world is getting crazy.
I think in the end, we have to pull back and everything has to go back to being personal. Otherwise, it's not going to exist. So, I mean, like, even when we talk about what we do with We Drink Tequila, so much of it is being personal and interactive with the people who are participating in the membership, because it's not just a transactional society. It's more of a community. Hey, we're doing this together. We all love to drink tequila. Let's do it together.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
But I think that people that do the personal touch are going to have such an advantage, right? Like,
I think in life, in everything.
Life,
yeah.
If you just take the effort to do those little things like you do, like we do with We Drink Tequila, like we do with FundLoans, it's like the people will notice, right? Like, how often you get a personalized letter in the mail? Never.
No.
Never.
Gosh, what's so crazy is I bought a like vintage bottle of wine for my father-in-law. It was his birthday, so we got the year of his birth, which old bottle. And so
your father-in-law's,
my father-in-law's
pretty
birthday.
old.
It was an old bottle. And so so we ordered it, but it wasn't like thousands of dollars, anything crazy. It was just a normal bottle. And as soon as I ordered it, I got a call from the shop. They were like, hey, this is awesome bottle. What's it for? What do you? And I'm like, oh, it's. And so we chatted for a few minutes, and then she goes, I'm going to text you when we hang up, and that way I can keep you like updated on the shipment of the bottle.
Nice.
I was like, wow, okay, great. text me like right after, hey, this is my number, this is my cell if you have any questions. Followed up the next day, hey, we just packaged it up, we're going to ship it to you. Do you want it to arrive on any of these specific days? Will you be home? It was so personal. And I'm like,
wow.
I was talking to my wife and I'm like, I will order from them all the time.
Yeah.
Because it was
care.
And it was a human that I was dealing with.
Right.
You know?
That old thing, the human. I know
Obsolete.
everything's turning AI. It's interesting. We got to stop it. I don't know.
There's no way.
There's no way to
Too
stop
late.
it. So
Turned it on.
It is too late.
Yeah.
It really is too late. And I think we are headed for, it's kind of like when you're playing Tetris, right? And you make one wrong move and the game's over, but you can play a little bit longer and do it, kind of hang on and do these. You
can still do it, but yeah.
This world is headed all towards that.
But I think the beauty, like what you said, is the people who continue to remain personal will always have an advantage.
Yep.
No matter what.
That's huge advice. I think people should do more of that.
Yeah. Agreed.
And unfortunately, not a lot of people will. And the ones that do, and they take this advice and they do it, they'll win. They'll win and they'll have much better outcomes for sure.
It's just a better way to live just in general. I mean, you don't want to go through your life, like laying in bed, having AI handle all your stuff and just collecting a check and ordering delivery and having them leave it at the door so you don't have to deal with a human and just like, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah. I mean, we were just in Nashville on a thing together and people are just so different there. They're just a little more slow paced, a little more laid back and they ask you questions and they're fine with things taking a little bit longer and human personal stuff. I kind of like that.
A little more country.
Yeah. A little more country, a little more question. Like, how'd you get in the mortgage business? And then just genuine listening, right?
Yeah.
Like, which I like. But so maybe some pockets of the United States will be a little bit slower to hit the AI. Like probably San Francisco and New York will be like the first and then LA and,
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Who knows?
Let's talk about non-QM.
Tell me about it.
So your biggest month, you did a bunch of Freddie, Fannie.
Yeah.
Right. But you've also probably had some big months where I know you're one of our top brokers.
Yeah. It was, what was wild is at that same time, the non-QM was still priced really well too. And so I think, when you're looking at it from a comparison standpoint, let's say you could get a 2% 30-year fix at that time, you could get a 5% 30-year fixed non-QM.
We were in the fours.
Yeah, in fours. And so when you're looking at a comparison, not qualifying versus qualifying,
right?
It's, most of the times for someone, if you don't qualify for a 30-year fix conventionally, you're looking at 4 or 5% higher in rate, but that's not the case with non-QM.
Yep.
And I think that makes sense underwriting and the whole non-QM sector. I think it changed the game for so much for the better.
Yeah, I think a lot of it initially started out with people that had foreclosures and credit issues and then switched, over some time to really focus on entrepreneurs and business owners.
Yeah, which I think the intention of it should be.
Yeah, because the truth is the W-2 thing is so easy for conventional, but so many people these days with gig economy, with, different business owners. I mean, I think overall, like if you look at a graph, there's more business owners today than probably ever.
Well, I mean, even if you have an Airbnb and you haven't, filed taxes for that year, but you want to use the income, like how can you show that?
True.
On a tax return? You can't.
Right.
But non-QM, you can. So there's so many little things where people who don't even consider themselves business owners, they are.
Yep.
And therefore they're finding themselves in a situation where they're applying with their bank and they don't make enough income, but they clearly do. They pay all their bills. They have money.
Right.
They just don't make enough income the way that they see it.
Yep.
So I love non-QM.
Talk about referral sources. So what is your favorite referral source? For let's say for non-QM.
I mean, other than my own clients referring me.
That's the best, the highest and best is like, hey, send me a couple people you like what I do.
I have some CPAs that will send me clients because, obviously they file taxes for these people who, are business owners. So when you're a business owner, you make money, but you have so much money that you're spending on things. So at the end of the day, they're not qualifying conventionally, but they can through non-QM. And I think that's a huge, as soon as I offered that to my CPAs, it was lights out.
Lights out.
Yeah.
And you got to kind of explain to them about it, right? So it's not
There's
just like,
a lot
here's
of
a flyer.
education. Yeah. I was going to say referral sources, they don't just give you stuff. You have to
Yeah.
really educate.
Work at it a little bit.
Yeah.
Put some effort in. And
Yeah. Which is, I mean, is worth it all day long. I mean, education, as you know, with tequila, with everything.
Yeah.
When you educate someone, you empower them.
Yep.
And once they have that power, then they can go out and do something with it. But without the education, then you're just left alone.
Right. What's the easiest non-QM loan to sell?
The DSCR.
So easy.
It's
like a stated income loan, almost.
Almost, yeah. I mean, it's based on the property.
Yeah.
So as an investment loan should be, in my opinion.
Right.
You're loaning money on that property.
Yep.
If they don't pay or whatever, then you take back that property. I mean, it's pretty simple math.
Yep. Rates are high still in this market. It's April, towards the end of April 24.
They're higher than I thought they'd be by this time. Yeah.
I was hoping for that first rate cut, and it's like, come on, Fed.
Yeah.
Come on.
Slow.
You want to blame the president, but he doesn't really have much to do with that.
I don't think he's doing anything with that.
But talk about what can a broker do right now, even though rates are high, to sort of get more business and kind of control their destiny. Because it's easy to just sit around and go,
rates
kind of
too
like
high.
COVID. Yeah.
Can't do anything.
I gave all my best clients the lowest rates.
Yeah.
What's an idea?
So again, I think so much of it comes down to educating. I think that my greatest referral source are my clients because they have experienced the process. They know what it's like to work with me. They know that I can come through. And so they feel comfortable telling other people, hey, if you need to get a loan, talk to Preston. And people talk. I mean, obviously we're in the business, but other people that aren't, they still share with their friends like, oh, I'm going to refinance my house, or I'm thinking about doing this or whatever.
Right.
And so if one of my clients hears that, they go, oh, you should talk to Preston. And so I think something important to do and still be doing right now is, even though those clients might have a 2% 30-year fix and you're never going to hear from them again in regards to refinancing their home, they may know somebody who's refinancing their home that could use your services. And so just like you educate the CPA, I think you educate your client. Yeah. It's so important to just even
and you got to stay in touch with them, right?
Little emails like, hey, and I think blast emails are okay for that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Just to say, hey, I know that you're never going to refinance that 2% 30-year fix, but this is just what's out there, just in case you want to know.
And why not even just take 10 minutes a day for the next 20 days? And in those 10 minutes, you could email probably 10 to 20 clients personally.
Easily.
Right?
Easily, yeah.
Sipping your coffee, just like, hey, Mr. Adams, we had your loan. It was great. I know you got a 2% rate. As you probably know, rates are higher now, but I'd love to help any friends you have that are looking to buy, relocate.
Yep.
And then end with a question. I always tell people, end with a question, because if not, then people just will delete your email.
Reply. Yeah.
Right? So do you know anyone? That'd be a great way to end the little short email and make it personal. Even check on their Instagram. See, I saw that Johnny, was got a trophy, whatever,
Anything. Yeah.
Anything that's personal is important.
Even just telling people you'd love to hear from them.
Yeah.
I mean,
how you doing?
Yeah. Would love to hear from you.
Yeah. True. We're going to get to tequila, which I can't wait to do. But I just want to see, I know you like to look ahead and, look to the future. Where do you see the market heading? Do you think we're going to get some rate cuts?
I think 100% we are.
Yeah. We have to at some point.
My optimism isn't weaning at all. It's just delayed optimism. I was hoping that we would see early this year those cuts coming through and a lot of help, but it's gonna happen because, well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. I won't go into my conspiracy theories on that, but it's gonna happen because it's what's best. It's what's best for our economy.
Yeah. And the just even the treasuries that are going to renew to from 1-2%, 0%, 1% to 5-6. I mean, that's a massive jump in interest payments.
It has to happen.
Yeah.
It's just the reality. It has to happen. So they're going to stir the pot. It's going to be incredibly helpful. And again, if you aren't emailing your clients, if you aren't talking with your referral sources, if you aren't staying personal with people who matter, then when this comes, you're going to be 10 steps behind everyone else.
Absolutely.
So start doing that now. start making the investment now.
Yep.
You may get some deals from it, which is great.
Yeah.
But it's good to just keep people updated.
Totally. And if you're not busy, what else are you going to do, right?
That's exactly that. I sent out an update email. It was the same base, but a personal intro line to every single person. But it essentially was just saying, hey, nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Just want to let you know.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
And that's a touch point.
That's it. But it's fine.
And they appreciate it because they think you care about them, and
Yeah. And the reality is they may just see my name and quick little glance, don't read the whole thing. Okay, cool. Next.
Yeah.
But my name is showing up. I mean,
and then they're on their Peloton, and then they get a text from a friend, and I have my friend. They'll remember you, right? Where they out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
They don't,
It happens really fast.
Right. The best part of the show, tequila. If you guys don't already know, if you've been watching the podcast, I love tequila, and we drink tequila. So Preston, your wife is amazing. Shout out to Shiloh Caffrey, and We Drink
Love
Bubbles.
you, babe.
So if any of you listening like champagne, oh my gosh, my wife is obsessed with your wife's champagne club, and that's what birthed We Drink Tequila.
Yeah,
it was like, why not? Like, you got We Drink Bubbles. We were drinking tequila,
so it
made sense.
It only made sense. Yeah, we totally stole it from my wife,
of course,
with permission.
Yeah,
that counts.
We twisted a little bit, a little twist. Like, we don't do it every month. Like, that would be a complete shit show.
No, I was gonna say,
for us to find a new tequila bottle every single month would be
and how about for people getting?
Oh, it's just a lot of.
A lot of
people
tequila.
Don't drink as often and
as they should.
Yeah. In the mortgage business, though, there are a good, healthy number of people that drink. So
yeah,
I mean, we drink to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
We drink when we're sad. We drink just to relax sometimes. So
yeah,
why not drink like super healthy stuff, right? So like, talk to our listeners about sort of the concept behind the We Drink Tequila.
Yeah. Have we never talked about this on any of the...
No, never on a podcast.
Okay, yeah, I guess you're right. So We Drink Tequila is a quarterly subscription club, and each quarter you get a bottle that is completely unique. It's a one of a kind. It is imported exclusively by We Drink Tequila, and a lot of times made specifically for We Drink Tequila club members. Some of these shipments are bottles one of 300. That's all that was ever made. So really exclusive.
You can't get it in the United States.
And hands down, I will guarantee is the best tequila that you've ever had in your life. So if you like tequila, you have to try this. If you know someone who likes tequila, this is, like you always have those friends that you don't know what to get them. They have everything they want.
Right.
We Drink Tequila is that solution. I mean,
and it comes in a cool box too. I mean, like this box was like a 2-pack that we sent out on our last shipment, which is still active now. If you join, you get the 2. But let's rewind a little bit. When we decided to do this, we're like, what do we got to do first? We got to go down to Jalisco, which is flying into Guadalajara.
Yeah.
Taking a drive into the town of Tequila, which tequila is not just a drink, it's a place.
It is a place.
Which a lot of people don't know.
Greatest trip.
Right.
That first time.
It was so fun.
It's like a first kiss,
It was so good.
You go down there and
it's beautiful. Like, it's like going to Napa. You see the green fields and the agaves everywhere. It's just like, you just never would know that exists. I mean, you do. You see, like, on the bottles, you'll see like a agave field in certain bottles.
I mean, it's pretty. Yeah. But you just assume that that's far out in the country or whatever. But you're driving down the main highway there, and you're just surrounded by vineyard-like agave fields, and it's gorgeous. Yep. So beautiful place.
Yep.
And I think what happened is obviously we wanted to copy my wife's business, but we didn't know if there were small farmers, like how there's small vineyard owners in Champaign. If there's small farmers who were making amazing tequila that the world didn't know about, we didn't know if that was true or not.
Right. I think when we first decided to do it, there was Clase Azul.
Yeah.
There was 1942. Like, we were really liking
Mandala and like these.
Mandala and the
Dos Artes.
And these are all the sipping, really delicious sweet tequilas that we were kind of getting into. And we were obviously Scotch drinkers and whiskey. And you probably still drink whiskey. I don't, but I remember early in the mortgage business, having whiskey bottles on my shelf that we would pour when we recorded our record.
That was a must.
Yeah, you were drinking.
Vocals.
You were the vocalist, so I was like, you got to drink this whiskey. Drink it now, then go in the vocal booth. But we really moved from that whiskey kind of palate to tequila.
Yeah.
And discovering tequilas that did taste like a whiskey in a way, because it's aged the same way.
I mean, some are aged in bourbon barrels.
Right.
It definitely, the longer it ages, the more it starts to taste like a bourbon.
Yep.
So for anyone who says they don't drink tequila, what they're saying a lot of times, especially if they drink bourbon, they're saying, I don't drink Jose Cuervo Gold.
Right.
There's a mental kind of relation to tequila equals something that I don't like because I've had it before, but it's
spring break, whistles, lime, salt.
Yeah. You can do that with so many things in life where you say like, I've had it, therefore I don't ever want it again. But you've never had the true source of that thing. You've had some sort of bastardized version.
Yep.
And so when people try real, pure, true tequila, it's a whole, it should have a whole nother name.
Yeah, it's true.
It's completely different.
Yeah, like an extra Añejo. Talk briefly about like what's the difference, Blanco.
In aging?
Yeah.
So a Blanco or a Plata or a silver, those have no aging whatsoever. So they harvest the agave, they cook it, it turns into like a syrup. They distill that, or they ferment that and then distill it.
Right.
And the juice that they get from that is the Blanco. So that has no aging, clear, has not been in a barrel. Is again with really good tequila, it's just fantastic.
And there's a difference between a Patron Blanco and a more Indio Blanco.
Yes.
Talk about that one. Why?
Well, there's a lot of different reasons, but
it's probably like saying there's a Bud Light and there's a craft beer.
A craft beer,
it's similar to that.
Yeah,
or anything in life.
For example, and this isn't throwing Patron under the bus. This is just in general in the industry. You've got piñas that are, and that's the agave plant. So the piña is what they use to make tequila with. So they're harvesting these agave plants, taking the
Heavy,
piñas,
200 pounds.
Yeah, well, not theirs. They're harvesting them at 3 years old, so they're babies at that point.
Which they don't have the same sugars, they don't have the same sweetness, the same
not at all, or even maturity. Like the maturity and I think the depth of flavor.
I'd call it ripe. They're not ripe.
They're not ripe.
It's like a fruit that's.
But they do that because 3 years means that they only had to wait 3 years versus most really premium tequilas is 5 years, and extra premium like 8-year piñas. I think they put off a lot of sugar, so people get confused because with a really mature agave plant, they're thinking, wow, there must be sugar added.
Right.
But
it's different. It's actually inherent in the drink versus them adding the sugar.
So with a lot of the mass-produced stuff, they're harvesting young and then they're adding sugar and other additives to make it taste mature. Yep. And so that's what you get in a big difference between sort of commercial stuff and craft.
Right.
Which is why you can't really sip those kind of Blancos.
You got to shoot them.
You got to shoot.
Mix them.
That's what the lime and salt's for. And the funniest thing is when you think about lime and salt, when you're doing that shot, it's kind of like a margarita is lime and salt too. Right. Just cover up this nasty flavor. And I think that's why you can do whatever you want with these tequilas that you get from us. But I would definitely say at least give it a sipping try.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can sip a Blanco and not make the tequila face that I like to say, that weird like squinty face.
The hard swallow.
Yeah. And, you almost want to throw up. If you can sip a Blanco and not make that face, then you are drinking a good tequila.
Yeah. True.
Typically. Unless you're that much of an alcoholic that you...
Well, then buy your stuff in plastic.
But yeah, which they sell stuff in plastic and it's so cheap. But, we're kind of people who like quality, who like nice things. And so it's same with, if you're in the mortgage business a while and you've been successful, you're going to want to be in comfort. You want to try the best of the best. And I think educating yourself to know that a sweet tequila doesn't always mean they add sugar. It could mean that there's a mature plant. Mm-hmm. It could mean that they did their cuts when they distilled it.
Yep.
Shorter.
Yep. Right in the
not
middle.
Wide. Right. And And so I think people will go like, oh, that's sweet. There must be sugar or additives in it. And you can actually go, no, it's made really well.
Yeah.
Talk about that real quick.
Yeah. I mean, so additives is, and that will become the word. Like that's in the next 10 years, you're going to look at tequila and people are going to say it's either an additive tequila or not.
Yeah.
And so a well-made, well-grown, well-harvested, everything done to perfection and distilled the right way, tequila should taste sweet.
Because it's agave.
It's agave.
Agave syrup is sweet. It's honey.
Right.
It's like a honey.
Now, it shouldn't taste fabricated sweet.
Like a birthday cake.
Yeah, birthday cake or aspartame or whatever, you know.
Right.
Whatever that stuff is that...
Stevia.
Yeah, it shouldn't taste like any of those things. It should taste like real sugar, like sugar cane.
Yeah, like a smooth, where it doesn't burn too much, but it has a little agave flavor, but then with a little sweetness, because it's the plant that you're drinking. I mean, it's
at the end of the day,
sweet plant.
It's a sweet plant.
Right.
Now, when you go further down the line and you start aging them, it will increase the sugar content because
it's like concentrating.
Because it's concentrating as it sits in the barrel. You know, some of the juice is evaporating.
Right.
And so it's really starting to hone in those flavors. So that's why an extra añejo sometimes can taste so sweet that you're like, oh gosh, like this is aged for 5 years.
Some more Indio, extra añejo.
Yeah. So this was aged for 5 years, and these are 8-year-old piñas. So you're getting sweet piñas.
Right.
And then it's aged for 5 years. So
in a wine barrel.
In a wine barrel. So it's really, you're getting a lot of insane. I mean, obviously we could drink this all day long and have nothing but good things to say about it. But it is sweet. So for people who are like, I don't like my tequila sweet, then that's not the tequila for you.
Right.
But there's Blancos that you can drink that will have a hint of sweetness. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they're still made really well.
Reposado, I mean, a lot of people just love Reposado. They don't know what it is. It's really just a Blanco that's kissed a barrel for a while. Maybe it could be 2 months. It could be 11 months.
Yeah.
Just not past 12.
Not past 12. Yeah. So every tequila that you ever drink started as a Blanco.
Yep.
That's just, so it started as a Blanco, then it's Reposado, and then Añejo. And then obviously if it's 3 years or more, then it's an extra Añejo.
One of the things that I recently found out, I don't know how recent, but it was maybe a year ago, was that some of these big brands, they don't get their Blanco from the same place that they make their extra añejo.
Right.
So it's a little misleading, because the way we kind of went on our journey is that, you know, when you go to a distiller and it's a family operated company or farmer, then their Blanco always becomes their extra añejo.
Always.
Where, you know, if that Blanco is good, then that extra añejo is going to be really good, because it doesn't, you know, as long as they don't taint it or they don't screw stuff up along the way.
Right.
But that Blanco that is by that celebrity may not be that añejo that's by that celebrity.
Right.
Like, they might get it from 2 different distillers.
Or, I mean, and with a lot of these like celebrity brands, they're just buying barrels, agave from anywhere,
slapping their label on it.
Because the craziest thing is you're allowed to put 1% additives into the tequila and still call it 100% pure agave.
Yep.
So 1% is shockingly a lot to be able to change things. So you could get tequila from all over the place and then have a flavor profile that you're going for and just manipulate each tequila that you get differently to end up with the same flavor in the end.
Right.
So they're more or less making an additive cocktail.
Yep.
That they're putting in a bottle and saying that it's tequila, but it's a cocktail.
And I do appreciate that celebrities, in some ways, it's like a love-hate thing where, you know, like Clooney, right? He came in with Casamigos, and I think he really brought the spotlight back into tequila and that it would be a sipping tequila. But now, I mean, they sold it, and who knows what's happened to it. We know, we smell it and you can taste it. But I think early on, when it was owned by him, it was a better tequila. And then
I would agree.
That happens, you know, things change. Like, I think Maomi was a good wine right when it came out, and then they sold, and it was like, now it's like this sugar bomb wine, which I would never have and gives you an instant headache.
Yeah.
But so like, it's kind of funny too with tequilas. I think that the entry point for people is the sweeter stuff.
Yeah.
The sipping, you put it on a rock or like little ice cubes, and then you'll sip the tequila. And then you finally kind of start moving on to like less sweet. And I love to equate it with when I first got into coffee. I was like sugar cream, right? Whipped cream, like mocha, right? And then now it's like, now I drink black coffee with maybe a splash of cream, but no sugar. Mm-hmm. I think your palate starts to move as you go, and that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Like it's you evolve and you mature with what you like. And
what's funny is like I still enjoy sweeter tequilas, like the extra Añejos, 5-year, 8-year, whatever. That was constant. Like I really enjoy those, but they become more of an occasion tequila.
Yep.
Whereas the daily sipping tequila is usually a Blanco or Reposado for me.
Yep.
But gosh, man, I can't say anything bad about tequila.
Yeah.
I love it.
Although when we travel, sometimes they don't have the best tequila.
Yes, that's not when we go to Mexico, but when we travel pretty much everywhere else in the world.
Or, Europe even sometimes.
Yeah.
Europe has not even really embraced it yet.
No. We'll help them.
We'll help them.
We need to help.
So one of the best things that happened when I started drinking tequila, I realized that I didn't get hangovers, which was kind of cool. I was like, a night of drinking wine or beers and mixed cocktails, you're going to feel it the next day.
Yeah.
When the first time I had it, like probably a little too much tequila, the next morning feeling fine, feeling good, was like a pretty mind-blowing thing. I was like, what's going on? Like I thought I would wake up with the worst headache, right? Do you know why that is?
Yeah, I mean, like I've read a ton of research and even some medical journals, but I think there's a couple things behind it. Again, this is excluding additive tequilas.
And excluding like a Cuervo Gold, which is like half
it's not even
syrup. And,
This is we're talking now premium, well-made, small batch tequilas.
100% agave.
100% agave, real 100% agave. I think what I've read, and it totally makes sense to me, but it's that because this is a plant, right? And it's in its purest form, your body metabolizes the agave faster than it metabolizes other alcohols. Mm-hmm. And so a tequila gets metabolized faster through your system. So you're processing it and you're using that energy while you're awake, while you're doing things. And so that's why I think also people say that tequila is an upper, because it's an alcohol. All alcohols are downers.
Right.
But the reason you feel like it's an upper is because you're metabolizing the sugars, and so you're using them right away.
Right.
And so when you don't have all that in your system, plus it's not depleting you of vitamin B the same way that other alcohols do. Mm-hmm. There's a list of benefits, but
and there's doctors out there that you can go into down a rabbit hole of why.
Yeah. Just Google it. It's fun.
Yeah, but like that's a real, not just an anecdote. Like a lot of people say that you drink tequila and you don't have a hangover.
As soon as it changed. I mean, because again, hangovers as you get older are just the worst.
They're
so
the worst.
When you can drink and have a good night, and again, this is not getting hammered,
not
but
getting
just
crazy,
just having a fun night, a few drinks, and you wake up as if you weren't drinking, it's a total game changer.
True. I just wake up anyway feeling bad, even if I don't drink, just because of my, my age. Old. And so, like, I've even tested where I've gone, like, a couple weeks, where I'm just eating meat or whatever, like protein diet, and I don't drink, and it's the same thing. It's like it doesn't. There's not a huge difference noticeably.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan, and I'm sure that this is the fastest growing spirit in America. So it's not just us that are, stoked on this. There's a lot of people that are joining in on this. Especially the celebrity, the new brands. What would you say is the most favorite tequila that you have now?
My most favorite?
Yeah, your most favorite.
I mean, I'm really into barrel strength stuff.
Yeah.
I like it hot. I mean, again, like coming from the whiskey train, like I like to taste the alcohol.
Yeah. That Fortaleza barrel strength is pretty good.
It's delicious. Yeah, good. Really good. But all that being said, I still would have to say that my favorite tequila is the Amor Indio Blanco. Their Plata. So it is.
Yeah.
It is just so easy to drink.
And it's sippable.
It's very. I mean, I only sip it.
Yeah, me too.
So that's mine. What about you? Same.
That's the one I go to grab in my little warehouse that's in my house. It's just like grab that and say, "Hey, Preston, I got one."
We need to
Please take off the
put it on.
inventory.
We need to put it on tap somewhere. Be
I
incredible.
know.
Something to be said. Switching back gears to mortgage stuff.
Yeah.
On the gifting.
Yeah.
This, I mean, people are into tequila, and if you give them this as a gift when you close a big deal with them, or
Right.
even real estate agents, I'm like 2.5% commission.
Yep.
And if they're not getting a gift from you, like give a gift to your clients, let them
Totally.
remember you. Giving like a rare tequila that they couldn't get anywhere else,
Right.
it's an incredible thing to do. I mean, I was sending people bubbles.
Right.
Now I'm obviously sending tequila, but I think that this is one of those things where it's like, yes, tequila is the hot drink and people are into it. So when you can give someone a tequila that they couldn't get, I think it's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, we took the effort to go down and find these, so you don't have to do that. And we're guaranteeing that
we
they're
had to
good.
drink so much
Had to do all
to
that
find
work.
these.
But like, each bottle that we stand behind is delicious, right? I mean, it's like,
Oh, we wouldn't put it in the club if we wouldn't be okay with being stuck with it.
And it does take
forever
a
and
lot of
drinking
work because we got to try a lot of different ones. And there's stuff that we can't drink. We're like, we have to spit it out or pour it out. And we're just like, this is not worthy of being in the club. There's either too many additives or it's not made well. It's, it's just hot, like nail polish. Like, what's the worst thing you want to smell when you're about to drink? A nail polish, right? And there's some tequilas that have a nail polish smell.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's in all distilled spirits. There are ones that people just use everything that they distill. They're not really making cuts. Mm-hmm. And so it shows. And that's why so many people are getting affected by the alcohol that they drink.
Well, yeah, because that's what ethanol that they're drinking.
Methanol, ethanol. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there.
So if they don't make the cuts right, that's going to give you a headache too.
For sure.
Just because, and then they'll cover it up with, the sweet smelling stuff, or they'll cover it up with more agave syrup or sugar.
I mean, the vanilla extract is
right.
Yeah.
So that's I think part of the education process for people is learning that, like, if it smells like ethanol, it smells like nail polish, it's going to give you a headache.
Yeah.
A good tequila will smell like agave. It'll have some alcohol, but it won't be the egg. What's the yeast?
Right. It's
like
not going to be egg yeasty. Yeah.
And so be careful when you're drinking it. That's.
I think, it's like a popular thing right now, but everybody is wanting to biohack life. Right. I mean, as we're getting older, I think it's becoming more as a hot topic for everyone.
Yeah.
But as you get older, you want to biohack. You want to figure out a way to maximize your energy through the day, how you feel, how you look, all that stuff.
Yep.
And if you look it up, you'll see that most people are saying, look, don't drink. But if you're going to drink, drink tequila and drink an additive-free, well-made tequila.
Yep.
So if the goal is to feel healthier, look healthier, then tequila's your drink for sure.
Totally.
But then it also tastes really good. So it's not like you're having to, crush green juice all day. This is good stuff.
It's totally good stuff. Any last words about We Drink Tequila? We're going to post
best company in the world.
Totally. We're going to post a link about, joining the club and stuff like that. And anything else about that? I mean, I love the gifting. That's huge.
Yeah.
I think people for sure would benefit from that. Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's been a fun trip.
The only thing I would say is, like, there's so much more to come. I think we're on our third year of doing it, and the relationships that we've made are so rich. And so because of that, we're being introduced from our families and friends to other families and friends who are making incredible tequila, all of which is not in the United States, because these are small families, small producers who they don't have the budget or the marketing effort to be able to promote their brand. And so they've always just made tequila for themselves, maybe for local restaurants and stuff. So for us to be able to put a spotlight on that, not only are, people getting to taste amazing tequila, but you're also helping the small guy. Yep,
for sure.
Yeah.
So I always love to talk about failure because, in my opinion, failure leads to success. And, we're all human.
Yep.
Anything that stands out for you in your life that really contributed to your success that kind of came through a failure?
Failures, man.
Yeah.
Tons. I don't think people learn from their successes. They learn from failure.
Yeah.
I mean, I've failed all the time. I've failed so many times. I've made so many mistakes. I've been yelled at by clients for making mistakes.
Forgot to lock your loan and the rates went up 2 points or, whatever.
It's happened a million times. Yeah. And you have to learn from those things. I think the reason why I became my own processor was because I wanted to own every mistake that happened. I didn't want to put it on somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And so if a mistake happened, I wanted to own it.
Yep.
I think so much of all the failures that I've had in my life have brought me to a place in my life now where I want to take ownership over any failures, but I also want to say, because of that, it's never going to happen again.
Yep.
Like
good.
There's, too long of a list.
No, but that's a good point. I mean, it's like so easy to blame, point fingers and, learning to say, wait, this is on me, and being humble enough to like say, I can do better, or I can not point fingers. And, I should have been, the one that was watching over this processor and making sure she didn't make that mistake or whatever it is in life. I think that's being quick to see that is only going to make you better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Versus like it's blaming someone else, then you never learn from it. And
well, no. And that's the problem is if you do that, then you in your mind, you got off scot-free. And then because of that, then you don't have to change.
Yeah.
And
pain is a great teacher.
Oh yeah.
Great teacher. Pain of the ice bath, pain of the sauna, which you go into the sauna, I'm surprised you even have hair.
No, you know what? I'm dialing it back. I'm dialing it back. Yeah.
What's the hottest you ever done sauna?
I think, on the little recorder thing, 260 degrees. It was too hot. My eyeballs hurt, and I was only in there for a little bit.
Isn't that what they say, like to reheat pizza, put it in it?
Probably.
You just melt it.
Yeah, I live and love in the 230 range, but I'm putting it down to 210 because it's probably cooking my brain or something. Something's wrong. It's the beauty of a sauna is like the heat shock proteins that get released that are supposed to help prevent dementia and Alzheimer's and all those things. Maybe I'm cooking it too much to where it's like
you're adding.
I'm releasing them and then killing them. I don't know. Dialing that back. But
But biohacking, you've definitely been before I even ever started getting into it. I love it now. I have a cold plunge, but you were the first person to tell me about ice bath, and I was like, no, I'm good. I don't need to do that. And you're like, dude, trust me. And I think it was like we were having a We Drink Tequila party, maybe, or maybe it was a party.
Yeah.
And you're like, just go buy some ice, put it in your bathtub, get in there for as long as you can, and you knew I probably wouldn't be in there for more than a minute or two, right? And but what got you into that? What made you decide like I'm going to start killing myself or like suffering?
I have this really weird fear of dementia or Alzheimer's. It's just I figure like
nobody wants that.
Nobody wants anything, but
right.
I'm like I just would hate for my brain to go before my body. And this was pre-COVID, like literally months before COVID.
Yeah.
Had been doing research on like things that help prevent it, and one of them was the dry sauna, and I was like, oh wow. And so then I guess like a lot of the links led me to this Rogan podcast, and he had this specialist, like a neuro specialist on there, and so then all this research I had done talked about the heat shock protein and how that helps prevent Alzheimer's and dementia. And so I'm like, I'm getting this. And so I literally it arrived and I built it 2 days before COVID hit.
Man,
which was amazing because
stoked.
They're like way more expensive, but it
right.
also is really good for preventing cardiovascular diseases and stuff. So it's really helpful. So I got the sauna because of that. And then I was telling my friend I got the sauna. He's like, oh, well, you got to get a cold plunge then. I'm like, what is that? And so he just told me same thing. He's like, get some bags of ice. After I play basketball, old man basketball. And so he's like, after basketball, throw some bags of ice in the tub and get in there. Your legs feel better. And I'm like, there's no way. I walk around like a grandpa for like 3 days after playing basketball. And so I did it. And not only was it the hardest thing I'd ever done in my life, but I felt great when I got out.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, there's something to that. And then another buddy of mine said that he was like, I do it every morning. First thing I do when I wake up, because I figure that is the hardest thing. Making the decision to go into it
It's the hardest thing.
is the hardest thing that I'll do all day.
Yeah.
So any other problems or challenges come his way, he's like, I just,
what else you got?
what else? I just threw myself into freezing water.
Yeah.
And there's tons of health benefits with that. But I think that for me, I'm an extremist. And so when I find out something and it works for me, I'm all in.
Yeah.
And so the biohacking with sauna and ice bath, and then even messing around with diet stuff, I think it's good because, you know, I want to be 60 and feel like I'm 30, and there's no way that I'm gonna be able to do that if I don't do all this other crap.
Yeah. No, I love the diet stuff too. I mean, that's you were into the lion diet and you got me into that, and I didn't make 30 days. I made it 2 weeks, which still was proud of myself.
It's incredible.
I lost like a pound a day or something. Like it was in my podcast. Like the only time I shaved my beard was like when I was at my lowest, because I was like, my face is not fat anymore. You know, like, I can have a no beard, and my wife was quickly like, no, you should have a beard. So I was like, but the lion diet not only works for just like dropping weight, but just inflammation.
The inflammation was everything. That's the reason why I went on
clarity.
I just, I have early onset arthritis, which sucks. And so inflammation is the cause of that and the reason why it hurts. And so doing the lion diet, it went away almost completely. And that was just crazy. So I don't know. It's not for everybody for sure. Yeah. But definitely check it out. I mean, it was incredible. I'm back on it right now.
It's not easy.
No.
But you know, the meat tastes great.
It's my favorite thing to eat.
Call me weird, but like, you know, evolution or God or whatever you want to say, I'd say God, decided that the best food storage for our bodies is fat. And so it eats fat when you're, you know, calorie deficient. It eats fat when you're fasting. Yeah. And then you actually talk about fasting real quick because you can articulate it pretty well. But I know that when I fasted, I think 5 days was the longest I went with just only water. Obviously like a little salt and stuff like that. But I think after the first day, second day, I was feeling great. Like it kicks in and your body's just eating, you know, your storage.
Yeah. And dead cells and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
And that's like the best fuel that you can have in you. I mean, your body stores it.
Yeah.
It's a perfect system. I mean,
fat is a much better source of energy than sugar, right? Than carbohydrates and stuff like that. And so when you get your body, they call it ketosis, but when you get your body in ketosis where it's burning fat for energy, it's such a more pure form of energy. Right. And so you feel better. You don't have the crashes like you would. Right. And then when you're fasting as well, after I think it's like 16 hours or more, your body has this process kick in called autophagy, where it's no longer digesting the food in your stomach. That's the focus, right? Is to digest the food, figure out where to put it, you know, do all these storage things. But when all that time's up and that's done, there's nothing in your stomach, then your cells kind of turn in on themselves and say like, well, what else can we fix?
Yeah, the liver's like, I'm bored.
I'm bored. Let's fix some stuff.
Let's do some other stuff. Yeah.
So, you know, then during autophagy, we have all kinds of damaged cells, little, you know, pre-cancer cursor cells and things that have broken down because we're not perfect. And the human body fixes that on its own. It's just
pretty amazing.
Can't do it if you're always full.
Yeah. Which is kind of crazy that we've been told you have to have 3 meals a day. You have to have snacks in between. That's screwing up what your body's natural.
I had never considered the option of fasting ever in my life until I watched a little news clip on this 93-year-old Hungarian guy, and he raced in a sprint, right? Of course. He raced in a sprint against, you know, 20, 30-year-olds, and he placed. He wasn't, you know, super.
But he was 93.
93. And so after they're asking him, and he didn't speak great English, but they were asking him, you know, how do you do it? 93 years old. How are you still walking around? What do you do? And he just said, I don't eat much. And they were like, well, no, I mean, like, what's your workout routine? How do you stretch out? And he just said, no, I don't eat much. And they were like, what do we do with that? But it makes sense. Like, he just doesn't eat much.
It's so true. But, you know, somehow it's because it's commoditized is the food industry wants us to eat as much as possible.
I love eating.
I love eating, especially when it's well-made food.
Yeah.
and occasionally the pizza, the round table double cut, pepperoni, black olives, but it's just, I don't know. You guys do your own research, but it's working for us.
It's such a rabbit hole. And that's the thing. I'm always like, it's so easy to get passionate about something that works for you. Right. And so you want to share it, right? It's this whole like gospel syndrome where you're like, this works. I want everyone to know. But at the same time, it does sound crazy. And so it's better to just say like, hey, this works for me.
We could start a business called We Don't Eat Much.
We don't eat much.
We drink tequila and we don't eat much.
It's a start.
Oh man. Well, I think, I guess we're almost at the end here, but what do you think your next 5 years look like? Big goals? Anything cool?
I mean,
you still want to do mortgages, or are you just going to?
Yeah. You know what? I will, even if I won the lottery or something, I will still forever do mortgages because I have clients that I love working with. And so, like probably new clients or random people or whatever that aren't a direct referral, I might just choose to have someone else do their deal for them. But I think there's clients that I love and I want to work with forever. So that on the loan side for sure. The business is incredible. As long as AI doesn't, shut it down. It might. But,
will.
But 5 years from now, geez, I'd love to be sharing these tequilas with everybody in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, not just San Diego or the states that we ship to, but
I'm
everywhere.
just stoked when I go to a restaurant that carries our stuff, when we introduce it to them and then they're like, they have it. And it's like, oh, don't have to, drink this Don Julio, whatever.
Yeah. It's crazy because there's so many tequila bars opening up everywhere and they've got these massive, like 30, 40, 60 bottle lists, but it's
still all like
the same guys, right? So you're like, there's still no craft tequilas. Some are coming in, but it's just when you think about like the craft beer industry and how, it had less than 2% of the market all the way up to like 1996. And then something changed. All of a sudden, people were consuming craft beer and they were talking more about it. And I think social media and things like that definitely helped. But I think part of all of it is that people started demanding better.
Yep.
And I think that will start happening with tequila, that people are going to say like, yeah, it's great that you have 60 tequilas on your list, but like these are all still owned by the same 5 families. Like
exactly. Yeah.
Give us some real craft tequila. And I think that will help change a lot of the industry.
Definitely. And challenge it. Go to a restaurant and ask them for something different, to let them know you don't just like the 5 tequilas they have on the menu.
Challenge.
Any shout outs to anybody?
I mean, obviously to my wife, Shiloh, for helping us.
She's the best.
Do this all is amazing. I'm not even half the man without her. So thank you. And then if my kids watch this, Kennedy, Brody.
Go Brody, Kennedy.
And then, I mean, honestly, there's so many people that have helped me in my career, you especially. So shout out to Jon.
I'm glad that I brought you into the industry because we became great friends and, worked out. So glad you didn't some people just can't make it in the mortgage business. So it's tough. It's a lot of ups and downs. And if you're watching this and you've been in this business more than 5 years, congrats.
Oh yeah.
It's
especially right now. Yeah.
If you hang on to the other side, you're going to win even better because it's just the pies, less people in the industry and,
Yeah, we've had like 3 dips and you just hang on.
Man, hope nothing else big happens like COVID or
I think
it always does, but
all right.
We'll end it there.
Life's too good.
Please share this, guys. Obviously we want you to try our tequila, but share this podcast. Tell people about us, and just keep doing your best.
Yeah.
Put in the effort.
Get personal.
Yeah, reach out to Preston. Follow us on Instagram. All those things, and keep watching. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Thanks for joining.
You got it.
The $1 Million Mortgage Experience Podcast.